What's up guys, RC Addict Make You Loco here, and today we're going to be showing you how to install this right here, a Super B gas kill switch from, of course, Killer RC. And I may be wondering, what the heck is a kill switch and why do I need it? Basically, the reason for a kill switch is because any number of things can happen where this vehicle can actually become a runaway. It has gas power to it, so it can go quite far and quite fast, and of course this thing weighs between 35 and 45 pounds depending on what kind of fit scale you own. So anything can happen. Low battery voltage, gets too low, can't control the servos anymore, you get some radio glitches from interference, stuff like that, and the throttle just takes off on you. Any kind of reason like that, you can actually have a runaway, and this thing is very dangerous once it does run away, unlike a little 10 scale plastic mobile, you know, a little car. So this thing, definitely you need to have a kill switch on here for safety reasons and for liability reasons. Now the manufacturer, Redcat, which makes this vehicle, this is the Redcat Rampage MT, and I have a whole unboxing video on this, a very cool vehicle, and very high build quality for a great price, especially being fifth scale. I'll link to that down in the description down below. What they do give you is this little chintzy fail-safe right here, and basically supposedly all this one does is plug in. Oh, that's simple, right? Why not use that one? What do you need the other one for? Well, this one basically only does it, cuts it off when the battery voltage gets too low to control the servos. So this thing's basically useless, only protects you one way, if that. Now, what's this jumble of wires and circuit boards? Well, this is a Super B kill switch. It has a couple different ports on here for buzzers to let you know what's going on. There's a little buzzer there. I got the optional LED so you can see the status of it, because this thing's going to be buried in the receiver box. And then, of course, as a plug-in for your channel 3. And there's a couple dip switches on here to adjust it for different platforms. And then of course this cable goes up and over and replaces your current kill switch that you can press manually, and you can put this one in there, and this one will cut it off remotely, either by your remote control. You can actually have a third channel in your remote control, like I'm going to change mine over to the Traxxas radios, and this will be my third channel. So right now, right here, it's good, right? Driving along, it freaks out, flick, thing will die instantly. It's the same thing as me coming up to it and pressing that button. And what that button does is it kills actual spark to the engine. And that's the best way to kill an engine, is to actually cut off the spark to it. Fuel can be residual, whereas spark, it's either there or it's not. So once you cut that off, it's going to die out and just peter to a stop. So what's nice about this one is that if it senses a glitch, it'll shut it down. If it senses low battery voltage, it'll shut it down. And then, like I said, with that channel 3, if you have it on your radio and transmitter, your transmitter and receiver here in the box, you can actually press that button whenever you want and remotely shut it down. So we'll go through all that on the steps here. Okay, so the biggest thing we need to do is get in here, take this old kill switch out, and we're going to put our new kill switch in there and then run the wires back to the receiver. That's going to be the biggest part of the job right here. Now, surprisingly, on the Redcat Rampage MT anyways, it's very easy to get all these covers off the end here, your pull start mechanism and the end cover, housing cover here. It all comes off without pulling that engine out of the chassis. So I was very surprised by that, and I'm very glad to see that, because I'm used to working on 8 scale and 10 scale engines, and the whole freaking car has to come apart to do anything on the engine. So this thing, you take it apart while it's still in the car. So first thing you do is take out 4 of these, and we'll pull this pull start mechanism out of here and get that out of here, and then we can start working on the end cover. So it's just one at each corner. And the Allens are included in your RC kit, for the Rampage from Redcat. Now, of course, I've taken out 3 of them already, so we can do this a little faster on camera. But once you get them all out, this thing kind of just finagles out of here. That's all there is to it. So that's good to know also, in case you break this thing by yanking on it too far, because it's got a short cord on it. You can change this thing out, buy a new one, and change it out in about 2 minutes. So that's really nice to know on there. And just make sure you keep all your bolts with the proper pieces you're taking off, and it makes it a lot easier going back together. So next thing we need to do is get a different Allen, and it's a lot bigger on this new one. And I have it around here somewhere. There it is. And you're going to take out all the Allens all the way around this housing here. You do not need to pull this roll cage piece off either. You can definitely get in right here past it and pull the Allen off. So pull all those off. Up here, there's going to be 2 Phillips head screws. Take those out. And then down below on this cover right here, this cover, because it is an end support, it bolts to the chassis. No big deal. Underneath, same thing. Here's Allen's. Okay, it's got a little spacer, comes up through, and it screws into the bottom. Take those 2 off from the bottom of the chassis down here, and then this whole cover will wiggle right off of here once you sneak it past the roll cage here. So like I said, I got most of the bolts out except for like one here. Make it a little faster for you guys. Keep all these off to the side. Okay, so once all those bolts are out, you can see it's just flopping around in there. So we're going to kind of wiggle it out of here best we can. We're going to get it past the roll cage here. Just kind of wiggle it out of there. And what you're going to notice, I have one disconnected obviously already, is that this switch will be connected to the exciter wheel right here. This actually gets the for the spark right here. So we're going to pull those off. What you can do, you can just get the cover out of the way. Just push that and it slides right out of the way. And then this whole cover is gone. You can see all the bolt holes that you're going to need to be taken out as you go around. And the 2 down below. So that's how all the bolts you need to take off for that. Now we got the bare bones here, right? So I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer here. Now this old switch, the polarity does not matter, but if you want to take note, the black one does go on the outside and the red on the inside. The red one will be right back. Now what I found works best for this switch, this new one, it's got 90-degree spades on there. Put it in just like this, and we'll push it through. And it'll pop in, okay? And it'll look just like that when we're done. And then you're going to have your 2 little wires, like usual, right? Red and black, same thing, right? And then what you're also going to have now is this gray cord. And that's going to have to come through the housing here between the cover you just took off and this plastic cover up here. So I think the best thing, the cheapest thing to mess up or chew into would be the plastic cover. So I made a little notch right here, and that'll allow this cable to come through, and it'll go underneath all our trim screws here for the idle and everything right here, so we're out of the way of that. And it'll fit through snugly. You put a little bit of silicone in there afterwards to seal it up from dirt and water and all that, and then we could put those 2 terminals back on here for your new switch, and then you can literally start bolting this all back together. Okay, so I'll try to do this while we're on camera here. Just remember that orientation is like this. The 90-degree angle is going out that way. We're going to do this with the cover off, obviously. We're going to put the black one on here. They slipped right onto your old one, your old terminals here. Okay, and it'll clip in. It'll actually pop in, and then put the red one back here. It's going to be a little tricky to do this one. Just have to look back in there and make sure you got it on there all the way till it snaps also. Want to make sure these go all the way on so it doesn't just die out on you coming apart. There we go. That's fully clipped in. You can feel the little pop when it happens on there. Okay, so we're going to have our terminals like this, right? That's how we decided it. Down below here is where we're going to have that cable coming through on there. and we can adjust that. I just made a little notch in the housing, so it'll be like that. So you put the two covers back together and it won't crimp the actual connection on here. And we can adjust the length as needed while we're putting this cover back on. Okay, so we're all connected. Let's get this thing finagled back onto here. Okay, now we need to concentrate on getting this in. Get that snapped into place. Make sure all our terminals are still tight. Those are still tight. And we can start working the cover on there. Just gotta make sure you have enough room for all the cables in here. Okay. I just like to be extra neat with all my cables inside of there. It's not a big deal. I'm just being extra cautious. And then you just start lining up everything back up, including your plastic top cover on here. Let me get this out of the way so you guys can see how it's going to look when it lays like that. So we're going to make sure this all goes back together. No problems. And then you can start putting a screw or two in there just so it holds it together. And you can make sure all your seams are nice and tight. Everything should just fall right back into place. You shouldn't be crimping or, you know, stressing anything to get it to go back together. It should kind of just lock into each other. So let's put that in there a little snug, and then we'll make sure the cover up here, the plastic one, mates with it perfectly all the way around. You'll be able to feel it. It'll be nice and flush on there. And you can start putting these screws back in all the way around, including the bottom ones. And my notch out on here is actually pretty tight, so I'm not sure if I'm going to need any silicone on there at all. And that's ideal, obviously. And like I said, I notched into the plastic, not into the metal cover. And since we're all done with this, we can also bolt this puppy back on. No big deal. Actually, very surprised how easy it is in this vehicle to do anything, really. It's almost too easy. Okay, so now that the hard part is over, we have to come over here and basically just plug it in to the receiver on here. We're going to do some functional testing, and that's about it on here. So what I am doing with my Redcat, as a side note, is I am actually putting my Traxxas TQY receiver in here. I trust the Traxxas stuff over anything else out there. I've never had any problems with TQY radios, and this other one that came with it just seemed chintzy to me. Very small, very basic, very chintzy. And one of the red flags for these is their transmitter takes 8 AA's, whereas nowadays anything that's 2.4 gigahertz should take 4. So it's just one of those design cues that you know it's a cheap radio system. I want something to be reliable and not just rely on this glitch system right here that catches the glitches. So we're going to be installing this, but otherwise the install is the same for yours. You have no third channel on your stock radio to use, so you're going to have to wire it into one of your steering on here, which also, that's another problem. These trucks have dual steering servos, so why do they not have 2 ports in them, one for each side, just like the Traxxas TQIs do? This is from a Traxxas Summit, so they have dual steering servos also. So I definitely was going to change over to this. So I got my steering servos, my throttle servo, and then up here is your battery input to the radio itself, all done up already. And that goes to the switch, and the other side of the switch just has this for the battery pack like usual. Okay, so we're gonna put the battery pack in here. Just we have this void filled over here. Okay, this whole void over here is gonna be filled. We're not gonna plug it in right now, and we can start messing with these wires on here and getting them all inside of here. We gotta fit everything inside this box. So basically, the only thing that happens is this plugs in to your channel 3, or Y's into your steering, which you can't do on this one, and that's it. It literally just plugs in there like that. And that'd be nice, because I'll have a way to communicate with it. It will, in case there's glitches. And then, of course, I have channel 3 to cut it off myself. Now, I do have the buzzer on here. Okay, that's nice to know. And then, of course, my status LED. So we're going to keep those out of the way, but otherwise we're going to tuck this thing and the receiver and all the wires down in there so we can start zip tying this to the roll cage and get it out of the way, because we're never going to be able to fit all this inside of here. Now before you do that, you're going to want to set your dip switches on here so you make sure you have the one that's appropriate for what your setup on there. Now of course mine, I'm going to have this one where it's aux active, which means I have that auxiliary third channel to do it myself. That's me active. And then, of course, the glitch kills me active also. So I'm definitely going to use that one. So just make sure your switch is in the right position. And if you have this set up or this set up, you just follow it. These two are kind of manual, so you don't want to use those. It's not really doing much. Whereas these are more, not passive, but they're definitely an active check on there as far as for glitches and all that. So you want to use one of these two mainly, else you're really defeating the purpose of the glitch system, protector system. Okay, so I got both of mine are up on here, so we're good. Everything's plugged in otherwise. We can start stuffing everything inside of here. So the first thing I'm going to do is get that receiver deep down inside of there and start trying to fit everything in here. We'll put all the wires on top, so we'll get them out of here for now. Bring this over. And these Rampage MTs battery box anyways, they have quite a bit of room in here to stuff all your extra wires, so that's kind of nice. Receiver's actually way down in there. So it appears we're going to have to make another notch in the box here for our kill switch wire. Now there is 4 screws for this cover that I took off earlier to get into the receiver box here. So we're going to make a hole for my LED so it can stick out the top of it like that. Probably somewhere like right here we'll put it through, and that hole right there is for your antenna tube to stick through there. And besides that, these 2 connections and all that over here are just for your battery like usual. Okay. Alright, before you seal up the box here and say we're good to go, let's do a little functional test on here. So we're going to turn on the receiver and the transmitter. We're going to let it power up. And it'll tell you it's booting up there. And of course we have our status LED that'll be sticking on the top there. Solid color obviously means it's okay. Everything's okay to go. So if you have a 3rd channel, you can test it right now by hitting that 3rd channel on there. Let's see if I can show both. So I'm driving along, right? Oh my God, it's running away. Right there, it's shutting down. And it'll do the same sounds like that and status to let you know it shut it down if it did it for a glitch. And once you turn it off on here, it'll go back into the mode where it can start again. Come over, start it, everything should work just fine. So that's the way to test it before you ever box all this stuff up in here. Wow, that's pretty cool actually. Wow. Alright, so I want to show you what I did to finish the install of the Killer Bee kill switch on here. What I did is I drilled a 1/4-inch hole through the cover here and put that little lens in there, and then the LED sticks in from the bottom. You'll be able to see the status of the Killer Bee switch at all times that way. Left the buzzer inside of here. It actually, you can hear it easily even with it encased inside of here. And then on its other side, as far as the Killer Bee wires, I zip tied them once, maybe twice. I'll get another one around the roll cage here. Okay, I looped it around, and the slot for all the rest of the servo and throttle wires ready for them. It was actually, there was enough room in there to slip these through too, because there's only 2 twisted wire pairs going through here, 1 pair going through here, and it fits in there nicely without crimping anything. So I did that. And then, just a side note, on the Redcat MT, this is what I did for a little modification. I made slots in the box and then sealed them with the shoe glue from Automotive Shoe Glue around them, so that you can charge it and plug it in and disconnect it without unscrewing the box every time. Now obviously when you turn the model off, you're going to want to turn it off by the switch and then disconnect it, but in the meantime, these offer great access without pulling that cover off. You keep it all waterproof inside of there then. And as you can see, with it coming through at an angle like this, even with that ferrite ring on top of there for interference, it's still all out of the way of all the idle and high and low needles on here for adjustment. So it's a really clean install, and I only have 1 zip tie in here so far. Just kind of loops around, goes into the box, and I waterproofed the rest of this stuff too, just for my own purposes, not part of the Killer Bee install. But now we can go out and test it, and we'll show you exactly how this thing works. And when I do it, it's going to do it by me hitting the channel 3 and killing it manually, but it'll do it the same way if it senses a glitch in the radio system or the battery just gets too low to power it properly. Okay, so we're going to do a live functional test. I'll show you how it looks on here once I hit the 3rd channel and kill it manually from afar. Killing it. You can see I still have control of the steering on there, and it's beeping to let us know that the switch has killed it, and that's the reason why it died out. But it's nice, once you kill it, you don't lose all your battery power. You still have steering to get it away from harm's way. Alright, so hopefully you like this kind of video. I like to do installs, how-to videos, how to improve stuff, all kinds of stuff like that. I do a lot of unboxing videos, from crawlers to boats to quadcopters to monster trucks, gas, electric. It doesn't matter. I have everything on this channel, and especially the running videos. I like to put those out a lot because these things are so advanced nowadays. It's amazing compared to how they were when I first started back in the late 80s and these darn things. It's just so amazing. I just recently came into them late 2012. I started coming back into the RCs, and it's amazing. And I've got a huge collection already. Got tons of remotes behind me and everything for all different things I bought. Alright, so hopefully this install video will help someone install the Killer Bee switch, whether it be a Lozi 5T or HPI or a Redcat. It's all basically the same. It's the same switch, and it's used for all the fifth scales on there. So if you like what you see, you like the how-to install videos, how to fix stuff, how to make stuff better, I just about have it all on this channel. I keep putting more and more videos out, and I'm into everything from little crawlers to big crawlers to electric, gas, boats, land, quadcopters in the air. I just about have it all here. So I got unboxings, I got a bunch of new stuff coming, and then of course the running videos. Those are the absolute best. So if you like what you see, subscribe down below. Thanks.